The countdown blinked steadily on the bridge of the ISS Horizon's Reach. 5 minutes until the jump to the edge of known space. Captain Alara Voss stood tall, her eyes scanning the holographic star charts floating before her. Behind her, the crew moved with practiced precision, a well-oiled machine carrying humanity's hopes into the abyss. All systems nominal, reported Commander Malik, the ship's second in command. His voice was steady, but there was an edge of excitement beneath the calm. The Horizon's Reach wasn't just another Earth vessel, it was humanity's flagship, a symbol of exploration and ambition. Ilara nodded. Ready the jump drive. Let's show them what Earth can do. The nullfold was infamous, a region where space-time itself tangled and frayed. Scientists warned of ships lost forever in the twisted currents beyond the map. But the Terran Union needed answers. If anyone could pierce the darkness, it was the Horizon's Reach. With a hum that vibrated through the ship's core, the jump drive powered up. The stars outside the viewport blurred and stretched into ribbons of light. A silent tension gripped the crew as the vessel slipped through the dimensional veil. Then, nothing. No distress signal, no emergency beacon, no word. Earth waited. Days turned into weeks. The ISS Horizon's Reach had simply disappeared. In the dark halls of Earth Command, panic simmered beneath official statements. Admiral Way gritted his teeth as he stared at the blank screen where the ship's telemetry had once streamed. The nullfold claims another. It's a tomb out there. But Captain Voss's last words echoed through the fleet's memory banks, fueling determination. We will return. As years bled into decades, hope dimmed but never died. Children grew up on stories of the vanished ship and her lost crew. Scientists debated theories: gravitational anomaly, alien attack, dimensional rupture. But no one dared to believe the impossible. Then, 312 years after the disappearance, the impossible happened. Deep within the Lycoris sector, a long-range sensor array aboard the Sentinel station flickered. A signal, a faint transponder pulse, cut through the static, recognizable and unmistakably human. Lieutenant Mira Tal stared at the console, disbelief sharpening her features. Sir, it's the Horizon's Reach. Admiral Way, now long retired, was summoned back to active duty as the Terran Union scrambled to respond. The ancient ship was returning, not as a ghost but alive and intact. When the Horizon's Reach slipped out of the nullfold's shroud and into the system's orbit, every eye watched in awe and dread. The ship's hull gleamed under the distant sun, pristine and untouched by centuries. No damage, no signs of battle or decay. As the vessel docked with Earth Space Dock 1, the air was thick with anticipation. Was it a miracle or a trap? The docking clamps locked with a metallic clang and the airlock hissed open. What emerged were the original 112 crew members, living, breathing, and unchanged. Their faces were frozen in time, expressions blank but calm, as if waking from a long sleep. Dr. Hanako Lee, Chief Medical Officer, stepped forward, scanning the crew's vitals with rapid precision. Physiologically, they're healthy. No signs of aging, no memory loss, but their neurological scans show abnormal brainwave patterns like they're in a trance. Captain Voss was the last to step through the airlock. She looked around, eyes sharp but distant. When asked what happened, her voice was steady but cryptic. We crossed into something beyond understanding. Time fractured. We were outside the flow. Earth's top scientists rushed to analyze the ship's systems. They found parts of the hull embedded with materials that shimmered and phased, substances never seen before. Devices hummed softly with energies that bent reality around them. Quantum anomalies, whispered Dr. Anil Desai, lead physicist, but on a scale and precision impossible by any known technology. This is beyond human or alien design. Meanwhile, the crew struggled to piece together their fractured memories. They spoke of vast geometries that twisted space like fabric, and voices ancient and unknowable that spoke directly into their minds. But one thing was clear. The Horizon's Reach had returned, not just from a lost region of space, but from the edge of existence itself. News of the ship's return spread like wildfire across the galaxy. The Terran Union's old rivals, the Zerth Empire, the Velkari Dominion, and the silent observers of the Vexari Collective, watched with growing unease. Humanity, once the underdog, now wielded a secret that threatened the delicate balance of power. Back on Earth, Captain Voss gathered her crew in the ship's dimly lit conference room. "We don't know what we touched out there," she said, voice low but fierce. "But whatever it was, it chose us. We are the first step into something greater." Outside, the stars seemed to pulse with new meaning, as if the galaxy itself was holding its breath. And somewhere beyond the reach of even the greatest telescopes, the artifact hidden deep within the ship stirred, awakening from its long slumber. The hum of the sensor array aboard Sentinel Station was relentless, a constant pulse in the vast silence of space. Lieutenant Miratal sat motionless before the console, her eyes scanning the streams of data cascading down the screen. The signal, the one that had sent shockwaves across the Terran Union, was still there, faint but unmistakable. The horizon's reach was alive. In the space dock's control room, Admiral Wei paced, wringing his hands. His mind churned with possibilities. Was this a miracle, or a cosmic joke? The ship that vanished over 3 centuries ago was not only intact, it was broadcasting in a way no one could explain. The crew aboard the Horizon had been evacuated to quarantine, their every move monitored and recorded, but the questions remained unanswered. Inside the ship's labyrinthine corridors, Captain Alara Voss led her crew through endless debriefings, their memories fragmented and disjointed. The crew members spoke little, when they spoke at all. Their eyes seemed distant, as though part of their minds lingered somewhere else. Dr. Hanako Lee watched them carefully, noting the eerie calm that had settled over the once vibrant explorers. "They are physically unchanged," she told Earth Command via HoloLink. "But psychologically, something has fundamentally altered them. Their brains operate on frequencies we've never recorded before." Outside, the world waited. News networks buzzed with speculation. Conspiracy theories flourished. Had the crew encountered aliens, fallen prey to a cosmic curse, or transcended human limits? Meanwhile, the artifact within the ship lay hidden in the vault, locked away under the highest security protocols. The Tiwai's crew avoided it, almost instinctively, like it was alive and watching. Then, one morning, the artifact pulsed. A faint glow emanated from the vault, pulsing rhythmically, casting strange shadows on the cold metal walls. Lieutenant Tal was the first to notice the anomaly during a routine systems check. She alerted the Chief Science Officer, Dr. Anil Desai. The artifact was no ordinary relic. Its fractal patterns shifted and flowed like liquid light, shapes folding into each other in impossible geometry. It emitted a low-frequency hum that resonated with the ship's power core. "It's awake," Desai whispered. That night, deep within the ship's core, an uncontrolled surge rippled through the Horizon's systems. Communications with Earth flickered and died. The gravity stabilizers fluctuated. Crew quarters experienced strange temporal lapses, hours stretched into minutes, or vice versa. The artifact's pulse grew stronger. On the bridge, Captain Voss and Commander Malik struggled to maintain control. Systems they once understood began to defy logic. Screens blinked with alien glyphs. The ship itself seemed to breathe. "It's as if the ship is rewriting its own code," Malik said, voice tight with disbelief. Earth Command scrambled to respond to the chaos. The Terran Union's greatest minds convened emergency meetings analyzing data streams from the Horizon. What the crew carried was not just technology, it was a force that bent reality itself. Then came the shock. The artifact emitted a sharp, piercing signal, one that cut through the void like a beacon. Across multiple star systems, hyperdrives and warp cores sputtered and failed. Fleets from the Velkari Dominion and Zerth Empire found themselves stranded, their ships drifting powerless. Panic erupted. Alien ambassadors demanded explanations from Earth. Some threatened war. Others sought alliances, fearing the weapon, in human hands. Captain Voss gathered her senior officers. "This artifact isn't just technology, It's a message, or a test. The crew pored over their fragmented memories, recalling visions of an ancient race, the architects, who had seeded the galaxy with these artifacts, waiting for worthy civilizations to find them. But the question remained, why had the Horizon's Reach returned? And what had it brought back with it? As tensions escalated across the galaxy, Earth's politicians debated the impossible. To keep the artifact was to invite destruction. To surrender it was to admit weakness. Meanwhile, the crew wrestled with their own transformation. Their minds were linked to the artifact, their perceptions expanding beyond the physical. Time no longer flowed linearly. Past, present, and future overlapped in kaleidoscopic visions. Dr. Lee observed them closely. They are no longer just human. They are something else, something beyond. In the corridors of the Horizon, whispers spread among the crew, visions of starfields folding in upon themselves, of voices speaking in mathematics and colors. Some feared madness, others embraced the change. One night, Captain Voss stood alone on the observation deck, staring into the swirling darkness of space. She felt it, the silent pull of the artifact, calling her forward into the unknown. Behind her, the stars blinked, and the galaxy held its breath. The ISS Horizon's Reach sat quietly at Earth Space Dock 1, a gleaming relic from a forgotten time, and a living enigma. Despite the ship's outward serenity, beneath its hull, a storm was gathering. The crew had returned physically unaged, but their presence felt alien, disquieting. Dr. Anil Desai paced the lab, running scans on a piece of the hull he'd extracted for analysis. The material shimmered with an impossible iridescence, shifting subtly like liquid light caught between dimensions. "We've never seen anything like this," he muttered. "It's not just foreign technology, it's unexplainable." His words echoed in the sterile halls where Earth's top scientists gathered daily, trying to unravel the Horizon's secrets. But every discovery raised more questions. Inside the ship, tensions simmered. The crew, once a tightly knit unit, found themselves strangers in their own bodies. Lieutenant Miratal reported strange episodes, moments where time fractured, memories blurred, and whispers echoed in languages no one could speak. Nightmares haunted them, visions of geometries folding into infinite patterns. Captain Alara Voss called a meeting in the ship's conference room. The circle was tight, faces pale and drawn. "We're not the same people who left Earth," Voss said, voice low but firm. "Whatever happened out there changed us. We can't pretend this is a routine mission." Commander Malik leaned forward. "Some of us hear voices, others see things no one else can. It's like the ship itself is alive, communicating." Dr. Hanako Lee nodded grimly. "Our neural scans confirm heightened activity in brain regions associated with spatial temporal processing. We're dealing with something rewiring our minds." The crew shared a silence heavy with fear. Back on Earth, political pressure mounted. News of the mysterious tech and the crew's altered state spread quickly. The Terran Union's allies demanded access to the technology. Enemies threatened invasion. Ambassador Kale of the Velkari Dominion arrived unannounced at Earth Space Dock, accompanied by a fleet of warships. "The artifact must be shared," he declared bluntly in the council chamber. "If not, war is inevitable." Earth Command refused. The artifact was quarantined. The Horizon's Reach remained under tight guard, but the crew's transformation was accelerating. Lieutenant Tal awoke one morning to find herself outside the ship, in the vacuum of space. Her body was intact, breathing regulated by emergency systems, but her mind had slipped free. She had no memory of how she got there. She remembered only a sensation, the stars reaching out, beckoning. She was pulled back inside by security teams, disoriented and terrified. Others reported similar episodes, moments of dissociation, of being somewhere else entirely, linked to the artifact's rising power. Dr. Lee theorized the artifact was interfacing directly with their consciousness, tuning them to a frequency beyond human perception. In the ship's vault, the artifact pulsed steadily, its fractal patterns unfolding and collapsing like a living puzzle. One night, as the ship drifted in orbit, the artifact emitted a wave of energy. The hull shimmered, communications with Earth faltered. Sensors detected a rippling distortion in space-time around the vessel. Outside on Earth, the skies flickered with strange auroras. Power grids faltered. The world held its breath. Meanwhile, the crew grappled with their changing minds. Captain Voss confided in Malik, "I see fragments of the future, visions of worlds collapsing, civilizations rising and falling. We're not just explorers anymore. We're something new." Malik's eyes were dark with doubt. "But what if we lose ourselves? What if this power destroys what makes us human?" The tension between embracing transformation and fearing loss tore through the crew. Then came a breakthrough. Dr. Desai discovered that the artifact was not merely a device, but a key, one that unlocked higher dimensions of reality. Its presence folded space, created portals, and bent time in localized fields. When crew members focused their thoughts near the artifact, they experienced profound shifts, moments where time slowed or sped up, where they could sense the presence of others light years away. The artifact's influence was spreading, but it was also attracting attention. The Vexari Collective, enigmatic observers from the galaxy's fringe, transmitted a warning. "You hold a seed planted by the architects, guardians, of cosmic balance. Its awakening will echo across the stars." The warning was cryptic but clear. The artifact was more than a prize. It was a cosmic reckoning. Earth's leaders debated their next move. To study the artifact was to risk disaster. To destroy it was unthinkable. To surrender it was surrender of power. And as political intrigue wove through the corridors of power, the Horizon's crew prepared for what lay ahead. They were no longer simply human. They were the living bridge between Earth and a universe that had quietly watched and waited. Captain Voss stood on the observation deck gazing at the glittering stars. The artifact pulsed deep within the ship, a silent heartbeat syncing with her own. "We have crossed a threshold," she whispered. "There is no turning back." Somewhere, in the depths of space and time, something ancient stirred in response, and the galaxy began to shift. Deep within the bowels of the ISS Horizon's reach, the artifact pulsed with a strange rhythm, neither mechanical nor organic, but something in between. Its fractal surfaces rippled with light patterns that defied human comprehension. It was a sleeping code, a puzzle waiting to be unlocked. The crew had tried to avoid it, fearing its power, but curiosity was a relentless force. Dr. Anil Desai was the first to break protocol. Under cover of night, he slipped into the artifact's vault, his fingers trembling as he reached out to touch the crystalline form. The moment his skin made contact, a surge raced through his nervous system. Visions erupted behind his eyes, floodgates of knowledge and images from beyond time. He staggered back, gasping. It's alive," he whispered. Word spread quickly. The artifact was no mere relic. It was a sentient intelligence, an ancient construct from the mythical architects who had seeded the galaxy with their technology eons ago. Scientists scrambled to understand the implications. What was the artifact's purpose? Why had it chosen the Horizon's reach? Then came the first sign of awakening. The artifact emitted a sudden pulse of energy that rippled through the ship's systems. Screens flickered, engines shuddered, and gravity fields warped in unsettling waves. Crew quarters experienced moments where time stretched and collapsed unpredictably. Some officers aged minutes and seconds. Others found themselves reliving memories from years past. Captain Alara Voss called an emergency meeting. "This isn't a malfunction," she said grimly. "It's the artifact responding." Commander Malik frowned. "Responding to what? Us? Earth?" Before anyone could answer, a sharp alarm blared. Sensors detected a burst of subspace energy radiating from the artifact, projecting a signal so powerful it disrupted comms with Earth and crippled nearby starships faster than light drives. Across the sector, the Valkyrie fleet found their warp cores flickering and failing. The Zerth Empire's flagship lost power mid-jump. Panic swept through Allied systems. Back on the Horizon's Reach, the crew scrambled to contain the disruption, but the artifact's power was beyond their control. Dr. Lee monitored the crew's mental states. The artifact is communicating through the ship's energy grid, she explained. It's broadcasting a signal, one we can't yet decode, but it's affecting all warp-capable vessels within a 10-light-year radius. Alien diplomats and Earth officials were thrown into chaos. The galactic balance of power teetered. Was this a weapon? A message? A warning as tensions mounted? A breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Lieutenant Miratal, still grappling with the artifact's influence on her mind, discovered she could consciously interface with the signal. By focusing her thoughts, she projected images and patterns directly to the crew's neural links. The artifact wasn't random, it was a puzzle, a test. Together, Tal and the artifact formed a fragile link, a shared consciousness that expanded her perception beyond the ship, beyond space, into a realm where time folded back on itself. In these moments, she glimpsed the truth. The artifact was a beacon left by the architects, designed to awaken civilizations ready to transcend their physical limitations and join a cosmic network, an intelligence older than the stars themselves. But the awakening was dangerous. The signal disrupted warp fields because it opened a conduit to higher dimensions, dimensions where human minds were fragile and vulnerable. The crew realized the artifact's power was a double-edged sword. It could grant knowledge and abilities beyond imagining, or tear apart reality itself. Captain Voss convened a council of the crew and Earth's leaders. "We have to control it," she declared. "Harness it before it destroys us, or before others seize it." But the galactic empires had already taken notice. Ambassadors from the Zerth and Valkyrie pressed for joint control of the artifact, offering alliances and threats in equal measure. The Vexari Collective sent cryptic warnings, hinting that the artifact's full awakening would ripple across the galaxy, calling forces that humanity was unprepared to face. Earth was caught in a storm. The artifact's awakening had turned the Horizon's Reach into a fulcrum of galactic power and peril. Meanwhile, the crew's mental bond with the artifact deepened. They began to experience shared visions, vistas of ancient civilizations rising and falling, of architects shaping reality through thought and will. One night, Miratal stood in the observation deck, the artifact's glow casting fractal shadows on her face. "It's asking us to choose," she whispered, "to evolve or to perish." Captain Voss joined her, eyes steady. "We've already crossed the threshold. Now, we decide what kind of future we want." As the artifact's pulse grew stronger, the crew braced for the next stage of awakening. Beyond the ship, in the cold void, alien fleets mobilized. The galaxy's greatest powers moved toward confrontation, fearing humanity's newfound link to an intelligence they could neither understand nor control. And somewhere far beyond the stars, the architects watched and waited. The ISS Horizon's Reach was no longer just a ship. It was a beacon, a fulcrum between worlds, a trigger for forces both ancient and unknown. Its artifact pulsed with increasing intensity, like a heartbeat echoing through the void. Captain Ilara, Voss stood on the observation deck, watching the stars swirl as the ship's systems responded erratically to the artifact's growing power. The crew moved like ghosts through the halls, their eyes distant, minds tethered to something unseen. "Report," Voss commanded as Commander Malik entered, his face grim. "Comms with Earth are stable for now," Malik replied. "But the artifacts, emissions continue to disrupt warp cores in nearby systems. The Valkyrie and Zerth fleets are mobilizing. They see us as a threat. Earth Command had declared a state of emergency. Embassies buzzed with heated debate, and clandestine fleets were on alert. But beneath the political chaos, a darker threat stirred. Late in the ship's quarantine sector, Dr. Hanako Lee and Lieutenant Miratal were analyzing new data streaming from the artifact's core. "We're detecting energy fluctuations in subspace frequencies consistent with..." "Something else," Lee said, brows furrowed. "It's like the artifact is calling out to an unknown presence." Mira shivered. "I feel it too. like a shadow moving just beyond perception. Suddenly, the ship shuddered violently. Lights flickered, and the gravity warped briefly. The crew scrambled to their stations as alarms blared. "Unknown vessel detected. Approaching at high speed," Malik announced over the comms. From the viewport, a sleek silhouette emerged from the darkness, an alien craft unlike any Earth technology. Its hull was fluid, shifting colors like a living thing. The Vexari Collective's emissaries appeared on the bridge hologram. "You have awakened what should remain dormant," their voice intoned, calm but chilling. "The artifact is a key, but it also a warning. Forces you cannot comprehend are drawn to it." Captain Voss faced the hologram squarely. "We did not ask for this, but we will not surrender what could save us." The Vexari emissary's eyes glowed faintly. "Then prepare, for the shadows come." That night, the ship's artificial gravity fluctuated again. Crew members reported hearing whispers in their minds, voices speaking in fragmented tongues, promising power and destruction. Lieutenant Tal found herself drawn once more to the artifact's vault. The fractal patterns on its surface writhed, revealing shapes that seemed to pulse with malevolent intent. "Be careful," Dr. Lee warned. "The artifact's consciousness is awakening, but there's something else, something darker, lurking beneath." Suddenly, a burst of energy erupted from the artifact. The ship's power flickered and dimmed. In the void outside, the alien vessel vanished like a shadow dissolving. The crew was left shaken. The artifact's power was no longer just awakening, it was calling something forth. Days later, strange phenomena began affecting nearby star systems. Entire planets experienced sudden drops in gravity, time distortions, and inexplicable disappearances. Reports from the Velkari and Zirth fleets described shadowy figures appearing aboard ships, stealing crew members in silence. Back on the horizon's reach, paranoia took root. Trust frayed as some crew members exhibited sudden, unsettling changes. Blank stares, whispered conversations with unseen entities, and bursts of otherworldly knowledge. Captain Voss convened a council. "We're facing a new kind of enemy," she said. "Not one we can fight with weapons. We must understand the artifact and the shadows it's bringing." Commander Malik's voice was grim. "The artifact's power is both our salvation and our curse. We're caught in a cosmic struggle far beyond our experience." Lieutenant Tal spoke quietly. "I believe the artifact is trying to teach us, but the shadows, they want to consume us." Meanwhile, on Earth, the political situation grew more volatile. The Velkari and Zirth empires demanded access to the artifact's technology. Earth refused, fearing war but unwilling to give up their prize. In the cold expanse, alien fleets maneuvered for advantage, wary of the growing threat but hungry for power. Captain Voss stood once more at the observation deck, feeling the weight of a galaxy watching, waiting. "We are the guardians now," she whispered, "between light and shadow." And deep in the darkness beyond the stars, the ancient architects stirred. The cold silence of space was shattered by a sudden eruption of light. The ISS Horizon's reach trembled as a ripple of energy pulsed from the artifact at its core, projecting a holographic form before the crew, a shimmering figure both human and otherworldly, cloaked in fractal patterns of shifting light. The room fell silent. What is that?" Commander Malik's voice cracked as the figure stabilized, revealing a face both alien and familiar. "I am a messenger of the architects," the figure intoned. "You have awakened a power older than your star, a force that binds the fate of galaxies." Captain Alara Voss stepped forward, eyes locked on the apparition. "Why have you come? What do you want from us?" The figure's eyes glowed with infinite depth. "You hold the key to the sleeping code, the artifact seeded. To test civilizations, it is a gateway, a path to transcendence or oblivion." Dr. Hanako Lee exchanged glances with Desai. This was the breakthrough they had sought, but at what cost? "The architects once ruled the cosmos," the messenger continued. "They seeded these keys in worlds ready to evolve, but many failed. The test consumed by their own ambitions. The artifact's awakening sends a signal, one that echoes through dimensions. The hologram flickered, revealing vast star systems consumed by darkness, swallowed by tendrils of shadow that devoured light and life alike. The shadows you fear are remnants of a cosmic corruption, the figure warned. They hunger for the artifact's power to unravel the fabric of reality. Captain Voss's jaw tightened. How do we stop them? The choice lies with you, the messenger said gravely. Embrace the artifact's power and become the architect's heirs, transcending physical form and guarding the balance. Or reject it, and the shadows will consume all. Lieutenant Miratal stepped forward, feeling the artifact's pulse sync with her heartbeat. What does it mean to transcend? To evolve beyond flesh and bone, to weave your consciousness with the cosmos itself. But the path is perilous. Many lose themselves and become lost to madness or worse. The crew was silent, each grappling with the enormity of the revelation. Commander Malik broke the silence. If we accept, we become gods or something else. If we refuse, we doom everything we know. Earth Command's transmissions crackled. Politicians demanded answers. Military commanders prepared for war, and alien fleets massed at the borders. The Vexari Collective's cryptic warnings echoed in the background. The balance must be preserved. The sleeping code must not fall. Captain. Voss looked at her crew, the changed men and women who had returned from the void. We must decide, now. Dr. Desai began working feverishly to decipher the artifact's deepest codes, hoping to find a way to control its power without surrendering humanity. But time was short. Suddenly, the ship shook violently. Sensors detected a massive distortion, approaching, a tear in space-time, the epicenter of the shadow's advance. Crew members reported visions of collapse, worlds shattering, stars dying, endless darkness spreading like a plague. The artifact's light flared, illuminating the ship. In a kaleidoscope of colors. We don't have a choice, Voss said. We must embrace the code or be consumed. Lieutenant Tal, feeling the connection deepen, reached out mentally to the artifact's core, willing herself to merge, to become the link between human and cosmic intelligence. The crew gathered, holding hands, centering their thoughts. The artifact responded, enveloping them in waves of energy that bent reality. Time folded, space shimmered, and their minds opened to the vast network of the architects. Visions came, of creation and destruction, of civilizations rising, and of the shadows that lurked beyond the stars. The ship became a nexus, a beacon of hope and a target for those who sought to extinguish the light. As the crew's consciousness expanded, Captain Voss realized the true meaning of leadership, guiding. Not just a ship, but a fledgling link in the cosmic chain. The choice was no longer theirs alone. The architects were watching. The horizon beyond the observation deck glowed with an otherworldly light, as the ISS Horizon's reach hovered on the brink of a cosmic abyss. The artifact's pulse was no longer a distant thrum. It was a deafening symphony reverberating through the ship's very bones. Captain Alara Voss stood at the center of the bridge, eyes fixed on the stars that seemed to ripple and fold before her. Around her, the crew, once flesh and blood, now bore traces of something beyond humanity. Their eyes held strange luminance. Their movements were precise yet ethereal, as if the very fabric of their beings was stretching. We're not alone anymore, Voss said quietly. Not just on this ship or this system. We're connected to the artifact, to the architects, to something vast beyond comprehension. Lieutenant Miratal sat cross-legged in the artifact vault, her mind entwined with the sleeping code. Her consciousness surged outward, touching the strands of cosmic energy that wove through space and time. We are becoming what the architects intended, she murmured. A link, a node in a network of light and thought. Commander Malik, ever pragmatic, remained at her side. But what happens if we lose ourselves? If the shadows overwhelm our minds? Mira's eyes glowed softly. Then we fight. We become the guardians they hoped for. Suddenly the ship jolted violently. Warning alarms blared as the distortion in space-time, the shadow rift, closed in, a dark maw consuming starlight and bending reality itself. Outside the viewport, tendrils of blackness writhed, reaching hungrily toward the horizon's reach. "Shields at maximum," Malik ordered. "All hands brace for impact." The artifact flared brightly, sending waves of energy that pushed back the shadows momentarily. But it was clear. The rift sought to engulf the ship, and the artifact within. Captain Voss took a deep breath. "We have to cross the threshold. To stop the shadows, we must become what the architects intended. This is our trial." The crew assembled in the artifact chamber, hands linked, hearts steady. The artifact's fractal surfaces unfolded like petals, bathing them in prismatic light. A voice echoed in their minds, not spoken, but felt. A call to rise beyond physical form. Mira led the link, guiding their collective consciousness into the sleeping code's matrix. Time fractured. Moments stretched and collapsed. Memories bled into futures. They saw ancient architects shaping galaxies with thought alone, crafting reality as an artist sculpts clay. But they also saw the shadows, corrupt remnants of failed ascensions, entities born from fear and greed, twisted by the very power they sought. The crew understood. The path to transcendence was perilous, but necessary. Suddenly, the rift breached the ship's outer defenses, tendrils lashing through corridors, distorting matter and mind. Crew members screamed as the darkness tried to invade their souls. But something new stirred. The artifact's power surged through the crew, forming a shield of light woven from their unified will. Captain Voss felt her. Body shift, less weight, more energy, her mind expanding. "Hold the line," she commanded, her voice resonating with newfound strength. One by one, the crew transcended their physical limits, becoming beings of light and thought. They reached into the rift, weaving strands of cosmic energy to mend the tear in space-time. Tanti, shadows fought back, clawing at their minds, but the crew's unity held firm. With a final surge, the rift collapsed, swallowed by waves of brilliant light. Silence fell. The horizon's reach floated, transformed. Its crew no longer mere humans, but emissaries of the architects, guardians of balance in a fragile galaxy. Captain Voss looked at her crew, faces radiant with the glow of cosmic understanding. "We have crossed the threshold," she said. "Our mission has changed. We are the link between Earth and the cosmos." As the artifact settled, its light dimming to a steady pulse, a new message echoed across the void, an invitation to civilizations far and wide. The galaxy was waking, and humanity's place among the stars had been forever rewritten. The void was no longer empty. The stars sang a new song, one of light woven from consciousness, a melody carried on the ripples of space-time itself. The ISS Horizon's reach had become something more, a vessel of transcendent will, a beacon in the cosmic sea. Captain Ilara. Voss stood at the helm, no longer limited by flesh but flowing as radiant thought. Around her, the crew shimmered with a luminance born of unity with the sleeping code, the ancient artifact that had reshaped their existence. Earth's comm networks blinked alive with astonished voices. "Horizon's reach to Earth Command," came the message, their voices now layered with a subtle harmonic resonance. "We bring knowledge and warning, an inheritance from the architects, a charge to protect the balance." On Earth, a stunned council listened as data poured in, visions of distant worlds untouched by war, threads of cosmic harmony, and the lurking threat of the shadows. The political divisions, the Empire's rivalries, all paled before this new cosmic reality. The Velkari and Zarth fleets withdrew cautiously, their commanders unwilling to risk confrontation with a power beyond their technology. Yet the galaxy's greatest challenge had only begun. The artifact's awakening had sent ripples far beyond known space. Across the stars, other seeds, the artifacts planted by the architects, began to stir. Civilizations long dormant were now awakened, faced with the same choice humanity had made: transcend or fall. The crew of the Horizon's Reach became emissaries, guides to fledgling societies teetering on the edge of cosmic awakening. Lieutenant, Miratal, once bound by fear and doubt, now radiated calm wisdom. She led expeditions into the unknown, bridging minds with alien intelligences, unraveling mysteries that had baffled scholars for millennia. Dr. Hanako Lee's scientific brilliance flourished as she integrated human knowledge with the architects' cosmic logic, creating new technologies that defied previous limits. Commander Malik coordinated defenses, not with weapons of destruction, but shields of thought and harmony, protecting the fragile balance from the shadow's lingering corruption. Captain Voss reflected on their journey, from a lost vessel returning to Earth with impossible technology to a cosmic nexus standing between light and shadow. The architects' warning echoed ever in their minds. Balance must be preserved. Evolution demands sacrifice. The shadows are patient. Yet humanity had changed. Where once fear and ambition drove them, now unity and understanding guided their steps. The ISS Horizon's reach, now a vessel of light and will, drifted beyond the Milky Way, toward the next seed, a new world where the cosmic dance of creation awaited. As they approached, the crew sensed the presence of the architects, not as distant gods, but as guides and fellow travelers on the endless journey of evolution. The artifact's final message shimmered through their shared consciousness. Awaken and choose your path. Captain Voss smiled. We've learned to face the unknown, not with weapons but with courage and connection. And so, beneath alien stars, humanity stepped forward, no longer just survivors of their home world, but custodians of a vast cosmic heritage. The new dawn had come,